some point I was a market maker for Ecobank. Basically, I was the head of transaction banking. I was responsible for all of eastern part of Africa and southern part. So basically from Kenya to South Africa. Very exciting role. At some point we were working on a deal to sign on DSTV for the rest of Africa. But we had also just started deploying Fundam. Mobile money originally used to be Fundam, then it became mobile money expert. And along the line, we just came across some stats. At the time, I think Africa had not more than plus or minus 50 to 20 million bank accounts. Those days, card circulation was only about 2-3 million. This is as far back as 2008. So we all just realized that the future of the mobile wallets. And more so because of the speed with which people signed on. Okay, by the time we got into 2010, we probably had, in Ghana, we had probably about 5 to 6 million wallets, whilst we didn't even have 3 million active bank accounts. And banking had been in Ghana for 100 years, if you add Snapchat and Blackness. So it was very clear that the future was going to be wallets. If you also look at what mobile money, mobile telephone itself had done, they had leapfrogged technology so much that your average person had a phone. It was either a feature for what we call a smartphone or young phone today, or some kind of smartphone. Either we kept it off for 3 days and then we kept it on for 2 days because we had to charge it. So the average person had a phone. And so the best place to put a phone, the wallet is on the phone. So it just made sense. And if you look at remittances, about 80% of us receive remittances across sort of like suburban and rural areas. So it made a lot more sense also to change the narrative. Believe it or not, I've done this, so I'm not telling you the story. I've had to travel from a village called Takyi-Appiah to the main road, and it's 21 kilometers. So that's how far your average remittance receiver will travel to replicate their remittance. So fast forward, coming to ZEEPAY, it means that remittances can be paid. Basically, next door, we walk out as a mobile money shop. So it kind of made sense for us to go this way. So I kind of saw into the future. I also have a crystal ball at home. Every now and then I look into it.
So what do you see
now
for the future of ZEEPAY?
Well,
when you look into that crystal ball, what do you see?
I think I'll tell you what I see now though. First, I see for bloggers. I see that you guys are going to become that definition of news in Ghana. Right. Now, what do I see for ZEEPAY? I think what I see for ZEEPAY is I try so hard to be modest, but I can't help that. I see that we'll be number one. I see that we're going to rule this country. I see that we'll be a significant player in Africa. And I see that we're going to be a significant player in Europe. Why are we with that journey? Come from me. There are some things that are facts and you got to believe in it. I want to leave you guys with something before I go. I know I've been trying to avoid these questions. I'll talk to you about it at some point. But you need to come to a place where you have a nationalistic sense of pride. You need to be very nationalistic. It's about your country. All you have is Ghana. Quite frankly, if Ghana dies, well, we're dead by our image, we're dead by our parents, we're dead by our stories. Is that true? So we need to have that strong sense of nationalism, and we need to build national rights. Anything national should be built. It should take preeminence and precedence over anything foreign. So in that regard, I believe I'm going to be number one.
Right. And what has been the biggest challenge? What has been the biggest challenge for you since you started ZEEPAY?
So we started 7 years ago. I started in 2014. 2014, 14, 15, I spent that 2 years talking to regulators and then also trying to get some form of regulatory approval. I think the biggest challenge across the continent, not Ghana per se, was just getting regulators to understand and appreciate the business model. The other thing is that our business model is not just mobile money or remittance, right? We're trying to build a bank on a wallet. Let me ask you a simple question before I continue. How many of us know about Fido? If you know Fido, raise your hands.
Yeah.
Can anybody tell me what Fido does?
They keep loans.
They do loans, right? How many of us know about Bima? If you know Bima, raise your hands. What does Bima do? Somebody said insurance. So we have lending, we have insurance. How many of us know about remittances?
Money transfer.
If you know ZEEPAY, what does ZEEPAY do? Remittances. How many of us know about payments? Everybody does. MTN, Airtel, Vodafone, we all do payments, right? So retail banking is going to be on the wallet. Retail banking is going to be on the wallet. Corporate banking will remain with the banks. But the concept or idea of retail banking is going to be on the wallet. If you go to Europe today, N26, Revolut, Wise, all of these platforms are banks. They are retail banks that were fintechs before. If you look at our market, 80% of us are young people. The age of 1 to 45 is the most predominant age across all sectors, all divide, all regions, whatever. So clearly, our comfort and our lifestyle is dictating the pace. My greatest challenge is regulators beginning to appreciate that. Because when regulators appreciate that, then they start to look at models that are designed to help all of us. My second greatest challenge is actually coordination. Having a bunch of people come together to work to achieve what we achieve. For me, why I come from is called culture. Making sure you have the right culture, the right mindset, the right fit to achieve an outcome.
So you are one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the digital space here in the country. There are a lot of people here who are all aspiring to become entrepreneurs, because if you're able to start their own channels and do other things related to the digital space, they want to make money off of it. So that's a form of entrepreneurship. What is that one thing or one advice that you give to them based on your experience in building a business in the digital space? What is that one thing that you tell the people here to hold on to become successful?
I think I say it so often, it sounds like a broken record, but it's several things of one. You need to solve a problem. So you're a blogger, right? How many of us know about Twitter? I do. Anybody? You'd be amazed the power of Twitter. On Twitter, you can have specific engagement targeted at financial services, fashion, whatever. So why don't you be specific? As a blogger or a vlogger, why don't you come to a realm where I'm going to solve a problem, maybe dedicated to education, child abuse, whatever you want to call it, and focus on that and build that. So that's the first thing. That's solve a problem. That problem is bringing an awareness of something to everybody. Or you can take fintech and create that realm of fintech news. So you are bringing awareness. Then the second thing is you got to be consistent. The hard days will come. In fact, the brutal days will come. There'll be days when you'll be so down, you want to give up. But don't give up, just be consistent. So solve a problem, be consistent, and in that process, collaborate and partner, and you'll be able to monetize. If you can do those three, write it down in the Bible, you'll be rich. Because it's a function of time.
Very well. I would have to be coming to the end of this one. But you mentioned something at the end which got me curious. Are you a rich man?
I hope I am. First of all, it's by definition, right? So wealth is a functional definition. The guy who has 1 cent and gets $2 is wealthy. The guy who has $2 and gets $100 is wealthy. The guy who makes $1 million is wealthy, right? In my case, I'm aspiring to be useful to society.
Okay. So if your bank account went zero, what's your first action?
I won't bother me because I have you.
You have you.
Yeah, I have.
That's where your wealth is.
Yeah, the power of is my wealth.
That's a great answer, isn't it? Right. Would you rather be a CEO? You're a CEO now, but would you rather be a CEO or a shareholder?
I think from the lessons I've learned, I'd rather be a shareholder.
Why?
I don't have to report. Look, as a CEO, you report to a board. A lot of people get it wrong. They think that once you're CEO, you don't know. You have to be the first to be at work because you got to set the right example. You report to a board. You have a chairman. You might not have a view with you, but especially if you are the majority owner. You still have a chairman. You might not have a view with you. You have to caucus that chairman. You have to caucus all the other boards.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Apart from that, if you have investors, you have to make sure that you always have something called EBITDA. EBITDA is the most, whatever. You need to always make sure that your EBITDA at a certain margin. So you can't spend some kind of money. So all of that, with all that pressure, and making sure your team is cohesive, there's a lot of cohesion, you're in the right direction, you're profitable. I'd rather be a shareholder, come to a shareholders meeting and take dividends.
Take your money and just go.
Yeah, and that's the money I want.
Okay, the last one. The last one before you go. You've got you can create wealth. You'd like to consider yourself a wealthy man. So if you have a lot of money and you were to make a will, would you rather leave your kids with everything that you have or leave them with nothing?
Well, frankly speaking, my father left me with something, so I have to leave my kids with something. I believe in the concept of building for a home.
Right.
But I think that, so to correct you, my wealth is by virtue of the fact that I have you. It's not because of dollars. My wealth is the fact that I have you. You see, once you have a self-belief, and your self-belief is able to integrate into society, then you're wealthy. Because you'll be able to survive.
That's deep.
Do you understand me? That's why your average guy will come from the village and sell coconuts by the tree or under the tree, and eventually will sell tons of coconuts, and at some point will have a coconut bar. Do you understand? Because he has himself. So just to correct you. Secondly, I think that as parents that we become, we need to build our children. I find that something we don't do in this country is we don't teach our children to problem solve. So we need to teach them to problem solve, because when they problem solve, they'll be wealthy. Everybody wants a guy who can solve a problem, right?
That's true. Let's give him a round of applause. We started with